GM friends, and thanks for joining DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. As a member of DeFi-Logic server, you can join the call every week, request chart reviews, and discuss in-call in real time. The link is in the description. In today's community call, we'll review charts for SPY and NASDAQ, Coinbase, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, 8, Caspa, ticker KAS, and finally, crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. And with that, I'll hand it off to Eddie.
Hey guys, thanks for having me here. Super excited to join the team. I'll go ahead and share the screen. All right, here we go. So we're going to start off looking at SPX. So it looks like Michael Berry from the Big Short decided to open a massive short position. This data does come from June 30th. So we're not for sure if he's still in this position or not. But I mean, just kind of looking at the chart on the weekly here, you do kind of have this double top forming. But if you open this position in June 30th, he's quite upside down. We go here to around right there, June 27th. Let's say he just benefited the doubt, got right there in the middle of the candle. He's currently about 19% upside down on his short position. So Michael Berry's wronged often. He's famous for hitting the housing market crisis. I'm actually quite bullish on SPX myself. It does look like it could pull back a little bit, but I think dips are for buying personally. When you look at the daily, it did break market structure. So that is technically a bearish setup. So if we look here, this is the low that created the high, right? And we have closed below it. So the way I trade a lot of times is I would look to short, and he taps into this. We've already tapped it once, and we kind of did it again here too. I actually did short SPX when this first happened, but I've already closed the position because when you look again at it on like a higher time frame, we're right here in this 3-day demand. And to me, this is a section you really want to be looking for longs in. Same goes for like the weekly. I mean, this is just a huge support region. I don't really see why anybody would want to be shorting this here, to be honest. So I'm actively looking for longs in it again. I closed my short about a day or two ago from here. What I'd want to see to reposition into a long is that this 12-hour can close as an SFP right here on this low. It'd be even better if it can close on one of these higher lows. The 12-hour SFP would be really something that I'd be looking for to get bullish in. And then what I would look for after that is a market structure break on the hourly. So right now, this is the current low. So in order for it to break market structure to be bullish, you would want it to close an hourly above the high that created the low, which is this one right here. So that's what I'm looking for on SPX. I actually am quite bullish on it. I think Michael Berry's super wrong. He's already upside down 19% if he's still in the position. There is an argument that we could come out here and take out this liquidity here, but in my opinion, this is a pretty bullish setup. So summary, 12-hour SFP, 1 hour market structure break, look for longs. Your invalidation would be the low below it. He also shorted QQQ as well too. It looks the same as SPX though. Weekly kind of got this double top forming, but in my opinion, this is also in a support level here. When you go into the 3-day, it looks very similar. Daily, I think we'll have a clearer picture on it. I don't have the best read on this one, honestly. I think when you look at this though, you have to kind of imagine that this is support until it's proven otherwise, right? Maybe if you start closing below it and start seeing some bearish PA put in, you can aim for this high right here. But until then, I would kind of look for the same thing, something more of a bullish structure. So here would be the low, the S&P of the low, the break of market structure, and then you'd be buying a retrace of that, just like I showed on NASDAQ. So kind of interesting that he's in that position, but we'll see how that goes. So moving on to Coinbase launching in Canada. Binance left it back in May, so it could be seeing some bullish catalyst for Coinbase. And actually, I really like the way this looks too. The way I look at this one is you got this key low right here. We deviated below it. That would have been your first entry trigger if you're looking to get positioned on this. Obviously, I'm not in it. We go to the range high. I see two setups really on this. Any pullbacks into these levels. I know it's quite a big box, but I'm just looking at on the weekly time frame for now. Any of these closes here, I think are good support regions. So then we would just kind of go down into it. And I pretty much look for the same setups every single time, right? So this could trade lower, maybe take out this liquidity right here in this section. But really what I'd be looking for is the same type of thing. I like to go on the 12-hour. I like to see candle make an SFP. So Just to be clear what that is, if this candle were to trade below this low right here, but close above it, that creates a swing failure pattern, which shows that there's demand there. But then the second part of that setup is you need to see the market structure break. So just with what I have right now, if this is the low, technically this is the high that creates the low. So you'd want to see an hourly close above it, which we got, but there is no SFP, so it's not really a valid setup yet. But I think that coin dips are for buying on coin too. We need to see some sort of bull structure here. If you want to just kind of buy dips, I'd wait to see if we get closer to this low right here, and maybe a daily close above it. Alternatively, if we just start pumping from here, you also kind of have this like wedge forming, right? I'm not much of a pattern trader, but it is important to see them playing out, because you can get into position a little bit later. Like if it comes, this would be really nice actually. If it comes down here and does that, you'd want to buy right here with your invalidation below that low. You'll notice it's the same thing every time. So you can do that. You could also start to look in if it gets above that descending pattern there, or again, if it starts to get bullish above this swing high, same idea, right? And then take it up from there. But I think Coinbase is good. I think a lot of boomers will be getting their Bitcoin and Ethereum exposure via Coinbase. People with a lot of money, I think, will be buying it too. So, and the chart looks awesome. It definitely looks like it's bottoming out. Pretty sure Kathy Wood sold the bottom of this too, but it'd be probably smart to figure out the date that she sold. And if it is around here, as long as we stay above her selling level, you're probably pretty good. But this looks great. It's definitely forming a bottoming structure. It could range for a while, and you could just buy and hold depending on your risk tolerance, or you can wait for it to break out. Coinbase looks good.
Yeah, and one more thing on Coinbase is that top professors at 5 law schools filed an amicus brief in their SEC suit, and they're all taking the side of Coinbase. So that's super bullish in their lawsuit that they're facing against SEC.
I honestly think that it's definitely something worth buying. Like, if you don't care about getting bottom tick entries, you could just buy some here. And really, your stop loss would just be the low for now until you see some sort of actually bullish pattern form. And then you can get a tighter invalidation. But really, any time that we're in this big range, it's a bottom forming. And that's where you want to buy. Off topic, but Link did this before the last bull run, right? A lot of coins do this stuff.
Yeah, they definitely do.
You can kind of see it happening here on Bitcoin. So moving on to Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin's kind of always the king of our market. Looks like the presidential candidate of Argentina has been talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So definitely countries getting bullish on it as well. One kind of interesting note is that against the Argentine peso, it's at all-time highs, which I don't know if this is cool or not cool. That just shows that the Argentine peso is so weak. Like, it looks the same as the USD chart until recently, but very interesting to look at for sure. Looking at the Bitcoin chart though itself, this is just chop. Unless you're a low time frame scalper, don't touch this. This was the ETF news right here, right? When we started to shoot up. I know it was one of these big candles. So ever since we had that big run up, we've been in the same range now for 56 days, and it's a very tight range too. If I take the lowest point of it to the highest point of it, it's 11%, which you've only touched those low and the high point of it a few times. I've personally been trading this on the 30-minute time frame. So like I said, like if you can scalp it, it's decent. It's still not really that great. When you look at it, I kind of don't have a bias on it. You can make an argument that it's like forming one of those BART patterns, but you could also make an argument that it's reaccumulating under resistance too. So it's just, there's nothing clear for me on it. If you want kind of a trade setup, I would just wait for the extremities, right? Because we're kind of just here in the middle. You don't really want to be messing with it in the middle unless, again, you're coming down super low time frame. Just to kind of show you guys, when I'm on the 30-minute time frame, it's a little bit easier to get into stuff because I can map out a tighter range and look to buy the highs and sell the lows. But you're not getting much from it, and you're kind of on your screen a lot too. Like, this is a 1% range, but I have taken like 3 trades in that because I have lost my mind. I think your safe bet is seeing if we come down here, anywhere in this region. I wouldn't just blindly bid it. I would wait for your bullish price action to set up. So a low to form, the low to get swept, and then a market structure break to get in. You would enter there with your stop loss there, because this very well could trade all the way down to this low too. So we'll see. I think there's like ETF news always brewing and stuff. There's a bunch of different catalysts coming up, but as far as what to do now, it's not very actionable. And then alternatively, if we start trading above, if we get some daily closes above these daily resistances, you can probably look to position again. But for now, I would just stay away from it. Ethereum. So Vitalik came out and said that all L2s on Ethereum have a backdoor built in, opens market share for competitor chains like AVAX Sol and different chains like that in terms of security. So that's what is cool about the team here at DeFi-Logic, because I don't really know anything of what that means. But let's look at the chart. Same thing. This is called Go Touch Grass. There's not much going on. It's just very choppy price action. Nothing you can do here. We're in this tight range. The Ethereum range is a little bit better. Like if I take this as the low, I put this as the high. It's a bit bigger of a percentage, so you can get some bigger gains in it, I guess, but it's just not very good price action in my opinion. I think the same could be said for it too, though. You'll want to see some daily closes up above this one right here to remove these lines. In order to get bullish on it, I feel like this section right here needs to get tagged. Looks like it wants to also. I would look to buy that with your invalidation below right here. Same thing as Bitcoin, it could trade lower, but all the smart people want Ethereum right now, so I don't think it'll trade that low. It could. We'll see. We just got to play it level to level. I would look for some bullish price action in this region. If you don't get it, we could possibly short it down to around here, or potentially even these lows right here. But I think that a lot of profit taking on shorts will happen right into this area, and I think a lot of people will be buying right here too. So I'd look for a dip on it, or we start having daily closes up above all these closes. The thing is you wouldn't really be targeting very high either. You'd have to take profit here and here. So that's my view on Ethereum. Not the greatest right now. XRP though, whole lot of news has been recycling Twitter by the XRP Army India Central Bank Partnership for 2019. Amazon partnership has been referenced, but that was coming back from 2020. I think they won that lawsuit, but then it's also getting, what's it called?
Yeah, interlocutory appeal. They filed an interlocutory appeal, and it doesn't look like it has a lot of merit. And I'm hearing that from attorneys in the space too. So there's a guy, Meta Lawman, on Twitter who's a Web3 metaverse attorney. He said before it was filed that they'll likely file out of political pressure, which I kind of assume too, but it doesn't seem like they have a lot of merit to the appeal. And that specific appeal has to go before the judge that made the ruling. So she could just deny it, and then they'd have to wait to appeal until the entire case is finished. But yeah, I mean, again, with the whole news that happened with the amicus brief on Coinbase and stuff like that, I think that Ripple has some leverage there. Also, Meta Lawman said that, yeah, they're going to likely appeal out of political pressure, but I like the odds that Ripple has for the XRP case. So we'll see where that goes. But on Twitter, you can see that the XRP army is just recycling old news. So they're trying to hype it up, but we'll see what you think with the chart.
Yeah, it's tough because you love to see this big, huge bullish candle, but then you hate to see this immediate sell-off. So, and if I'm correct with my memory, this was the day when they won that lawsuit. So obviously people were expecting them to win, and this was probably just a lot of people buying the news, but then, people who are smarter traders who kind of anticipated it and saw the accumulation build up, taking profit on those apes, buying into it. I really don't like the way it's looking. It looks super bearish right now just because of the dying momentum on it. It lost market structure as well. So this is kind of a weird one because you kind of got like a blow off top sort of happening, and then it comes back in and retests it. Sure, if we go on to a lower time frame, it was probably a really nice short trigger. I don't want to sit here and really diving into it, but you can kind of see one here, it comes back in and deviates this, so if you go down the 4 hour, you got that blow off top and then it comes down, people buy the dip again, but then it deviates that close right there. So it was a pretty clear short. You really want to see it staying above this region here weekly. It's kind of a large region, but we have some pretty good support here. You really want to see it staying up there. If it doesn't stay in that region, there's a good chance that it comes down here to these highs. This is a really great section to be bidding at. So I think if you're bullish on XRP, you have to take a stab right here. I'd probably just DCA the entire box with a stop right here below this low. At least aim for this area. 4 hour trade. It's not bad. You'd have to take profit at these highs for sure. But still, it's a pretty good trade. I'd want to stop there because basically what this is former range high, right? So what you're doing is you're just buying the SR. And if it doesn't hold SR, this is a really wide stop loss, but we can zoom in lower as we approach it and look for the same bullish triggers. But that's a pretty key support resistance flip. It hasn't been retested yet. Zooming in a little bit lower on the daily, I'd probably actually bid it more so like this. Get some of these wicks in there. DCA that whole zone right here. So 546 through 505. You could probably really get out if you daily close below this area, but just to be a little bit safer, stop loss below here would probably be good because if it doesn't hold the SR level, it's probably coming back to range low. That's just how these things trade. Personally, I mean, there is the mid range too, but I don't really like to trade the mid range. My stop loss is basically right at mid range, so it doesn't look good. I think it's going to come down to tag this level for sure, and then you could buy this, hope that it holds the SR. If it does, you can aim for the local high for a day trade. If you're looking to invest it, maybe you can hold for longer, but I think the market's pretty bearish still, so I'm not holding anything, especially something like this for very long. It's just an old coin. I know it does have new catalysts and new news in the courts and etc., but that's kind of what we're looking at. As far as the short goes, if you wanted to short it, I think we already missed the short. We're kind of here in the middle again. And then again, if it starts to reclaim maybe around this region, get some closes up here, you could probably look to get long again. But in my opinion, this is the A trade, the SR, and that'd be the only trade I'd be willing to take. So APE's been trending. There was a write-up written by some of the analysts in the DeFi-Logic, but Ape looks good in general. So I feel like this is going to be a coin that outperforms really well. So if you look at previous cycles, the new shiny coins are what does the best, right? So that's what I was saying. Like, I wouldn't hold XRP for very long term, even with the bullish news, just because this coin's been around for so long. It's already had a bull cycle, I think 2 of them, right? Because it first came out in 2017, I remember. That was one of the first coins I ever bought. Ape came out during the bear market, and it's only had a bear cycle. So I think this is a coin that you want to accumulate. And I think it's forming in an accumulation zone right now. So if we look at it on the weekly, I kind of like this area. If you want to buy spot on it, you just buy spot in this thing and chill while it does this until the bull market, right? And I think it definitely sees new highs. I actually have been buying spot Ape. As far as a now setup, I put alerts on it on one of my other charts, but so I like to use daily EMA 13, which I know Cryptix has been keying an indicator for us, which he has that on there. You can talk to him to get it a little bit tweaked, but this blue EMA is daily EMA 13. And I like to buy retests of that. So I have an alert set for it. I'll probably just buy it right here. So that's just kind of a side note thing. But when you look at it on the daily, it's broken bullish market structure. So here's the low, and here's the high that created the low. Once we have that close above it on Saturday, this is bullish. So you want to be buying retests into it. The reason why I'm not entering right now is because I think that's going to come down here. This is just very, very huge demand level, this whole area. So I'll be looking to buy it. I want to see a low made, a sweep of that low, a market structure break again. If it starts closing above this current market structure break, I may just go in right away. But just kind of being patient for now. I think I'll come down here. I'm putting an alert in there. That's where I want it. Looks great though. And again, if you have the tolerance to hold something long term, I believe that we're in a great zone to accumulate. It is pretty wide, but that's how these altcoins trade. If you want a smaller accumulation zone, you could just maybe make it be right here, these 2 levels. But in my opinion, anything below $3 is good.
Yeah, so that token unlock is happening in like a day or 2. And historically, I thought about shorting it just because it's going to unlock a lot of tokens. And I was like, I'm going to wait to see what happens. And it actually pumped for one of the unlocks. So a little bit of market manipulation there, most likely, I think, but definitely not something to short. And if you think the chart looks good, then yeah, I'd say probably stay away from it based on FAN.
I wouldn't be shorting because really, I think that this is going to hold its support for sure. So you're looking at a 4% move. Maybe if you get some sort of bounce first, because we could bounce right here into this section right here. So maybe if you did something like this, it'd be okay to short. But still, you're looking at a 2R play. In my opinion, that's just not really the move. I'd much rather get long and, hope that it can break out. Gosh, where to go? I'd much rather look at it something like this. And I'd be aiming for these highs up here. So first these ones, then these ones. And then you hold the moon bag in case it breaks out of that zone, right? Then you can aim up here and up here, forming like a 3-day divergence. So if you look at this, I use RSI sometimes, but this is a pretty bullish setup right here. This is a 3-day bullish divergence. So I really like Ape right now. It looks really great. I bought some spot recently too. So look to long in this section anywhere around anywhere under $2. So basically what I'm looking at is this 12-hour region right here. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you're really feeling risky, come up here. I'd wait for it to bounce up into this box, short it down here, but then I'd really want to long it too. KAS. So KAS is gaining a huge traction, especially with miners. They can use GPNs to mine. So that's like your graphic cards for your computer. But the cool thing about KAS, this is the coin you want to be in. It's like up only since it launched. So it came out October 2022. There may be some other charts that have more data. I'm using the MEXC chart. I trade on MEXC, and I know that they launch things right away. So there may be something with a little bit more data, but I looked at like 5 or 6 different exchanges, and this one had the most out of all of them. But it's just a very, very bullish structure, So you got your highs and your lows, a higher low, another higher high, another higher low, another higher high, another higher low. And then it did break market structure, but then it regained it again. It's just making more highs and more lows. So I think this is a really good coin to be in. I actually bought some earlier today. It's still right around entry for anyone that wants to get in. The reason why I bought it was a couple of reasons. Let me show you really quick. So when you look at it the daily, this is such a key level, right? It was former highest close. We came in and tested it earlier today. And then you also have this zone here too, which is just, this is more one of those box areas. Like you just have this huge demand here, and you can see like there's definitely buyers in this region. So originally when I was first looking at this a couple days ago, my initial thoughts were to just buy this area with a stop below this low right here, the Saturday low. However, this morning when I woke up, I noticed that it was retesting this orange EMA. This is 4H EMA 200. A lot of algorithmic traders will use this to buy and to short on. So when I saw that it was right below it, was when I first noticed it. What I did was I just went ahead and longed it with a stop below today's low. So it's a bit tighter of a stop, and it's kind of risky, especially because I feel like there is a chance that it could trade deeper into the zone. But if it does, I'll just look for another long setup because I really like the way it looks. Technically speaking, it did break market structure. So we have the high here, and then this is the low that created the high, and it closed below it. So really you would want to be shorting that. But again, in my opinion, that short already played out because it tagged the next level that you'd want to be aiming for anyway. So I think that short played out, and I did buy some a bit ago. We're right around my entry. My entry is basically the 4H EMA 200. I'm right below it. I'll look to add to the position if I can get an hourly market structure break. So here's my low. Here's the high that created it. As soon as I get an hourly close above it, and then a retest, I'll add. And again, the stop is just below today's low. I'm targeting new highs on it too. This is a really super bullish coin. I really like just the way the chart looks. And obviously people really like it. So if you do decide to take position, I want new highs on it, but I will probably take some off around here and around here. And then I'd close once I see weakness. So see if we can show an example of some weakness on here. You can start to see that it starts getting like really wicky. So here's a really clean SFP that I've been talking about, right? So here's some highs. Might be able to see it better on the 12-hour. Let's look. Okay. So you see how it formed this high right here? And then this one traded above it but closed below it. So that's a sign of weakness. That's what I'd be kind of looking to get out of. So once we just start seeing some wicks form, we'd be looking to TP. And I'm guessing that this position will take a while to play out. So we'll probably have another TA stream when we're trading up here, hopefully. And then I'll have some more price action to kind of show you what we're looking for to fully exit the position. But this looks great right here, in my opinion. I'm in. If I get stopped out, I'll just look for another setup to form. There's a chance if this daily closes as a swing failure pattern as well, then I'm going to really like it a lot. And I'll probably add the position even heavier. If that happens, it could trade back. So if we close above this low, we could trade back into it again, but that's okay. That's allowed. My stop is right here currently. I want this low to be the low. Yeah, KAS looks awesome. I like it a lot. And then moving on to total 3. So I haven't charted this in quite a while, as you can see from the last time I charted it. Let's see what we got going on with it. So total 3 excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, basically just sees what's going on with the altcoin world. To me, it's right around mid-range. So here's range low, here's range high, and then here's the mid-range. It's a little bit below it. It's not very clear read on the weekly. I could see it coming down a little bit, possibly, but I feel like this region should hold. Same thing on the daily. I feel like all of this could potentially hold. If I were to break this range down even further into like another one, we're probably right at the mid-range again, pretty close to it. So maybe another test into mid-level. All price is fractal, so I look for the same setups everywhere, right? Hard to know what this is going on. Technically, it's in the discount, meaning it's below the 50% of the larger range. So you should be looking for bullish setups in it. I wouldn't be bearish on this at all. The time to be bearish was, November 22. We're forming a huge macro reaccumulation zone again. All the charts kind of look the same. So if you guys have some coins that you're super excited about the future on, you want to be buying if you can, if you have the money to. And then what you would do if you want to manage risk is just whatever the high time frame low is. Like if we start trading below these two lows right here, then you probably want to get out and just take your loss. But in my opinion, we're reaccumulating for the next bull run, which is exciting.
That it is.
That's when we all make money.
Definitely. Easy time to make money. I think the one thing that I want to say, though, is I saw on Twitter someone break it down and that the bear market mentality kind of screws people in the bull market. So people that are around in the bear market, you have to remember to change your trading mentality a little bit, just because your take profit is going to be a lot different in the bull run. If it's a sustainable project or something that's been around for a while, it has a lot more upside. So, I'm going to try to not sell as quickly. Like right now, I'm getting like 2, 3, 5x sometimes in the bear market, but the bull run, it's a lot different. You can get like easy 10x in a matter of a week or two versus the current bear market that we're in. So definitely important to remember to move with the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, one just key thing to point out too here that I noticed. So we're even above this key close here on the weekly of the old all-time high on it. So yeah, I think total 3 is just accumulating. I think it's good to go, guys.
All right. Well, thanks, Eddie. That is it for this week. Remember, as a member of DeFi-Logic, you can post chart requests in the Daily Dose forum, and we'll review your coins, assets, and tradable proxies in the next call. Also, DeFi-Logic members interested in alpha testing the ETH spot trading indicator and the new XRP strategy developed by Cryptics in the server are free until we launch. Also, the server is a freemium service to anybody that gets in prior to launch, so you'll have lifetime access to the server alone. Other services and products will be paid. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week, this time on Tuesday. GN, friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA at DeFiLogic.com.